it's fair at this point to say that alongside being one of the most nostalgic early web games, Neopets is also one of the most controversial. A while ago I made a video discussing Neopets' long history of dramas and scandals, from their black market trading economy to their infamous ties to Scientology to their shady advertising and more. But there's one controversy that's popped up in recent times, a controversy so severe that people are calling it the final nail in the coffin and the thing that will kill Neopets once and for all. And that thing is the Neopets metaverse, or basically Neopets NFTs. Today let's look at the NFT scandal and all the dramas that have ensued because of it and figure out whether Neopets' latest mistake will be their last. Before we get into today's video, I just want to give a huge thank you to Boxu for sponsoring this video. Boxu is a premium Japanese snack subscription that delivers delicious and authentic Japanese snacks and teas straight to your door. Every month, Boxu takes you on a gourmet journey through Japan with different themes and snacks monthly. The subscription is shipped straight from Japan, and as you can see, it's filled to the brim with all kinds of goodies. My favorites were the dried persimmon mochi. I love all mochi, but the persimmon flavor was just like chef's kiss. And I also really like the yuzu pepper popcorn by Mike Popcorn. Fun fact, Mike Popcorn was Japan's first domestic popcorn brand, the more you know. This booklet is actually packed with super cool information about all the snacks and teas and where they come from, and it even has a map showing you where in Japan your snacks are from. Boxu partners with artisanal and family snack makers in Japan, which is really cool and means you're not only getting an authentic experience but supporting these businesses. Boxu is the perfect gift for the holiday season, and actually not only would you be gifting them Boxu, which is already awesome, but also you'd be technically gifting them the chance to win free tickets to Japan because Boxu is having a giveaway. They'll be picking 5 lucky winners to win a free set of tickets, and anyone who's subscribed to Boxu before December 31st is automatically entered. I'll include a link in my description so you can check out the terms and conditions and other methods of entry. I highly recommend Boxu. The snacks are top tier and the people they work with are really cool, so if you want a delicious surprise this holiday season and the chance to win a trip to Japan, head to the link in the description and use my code IZZY10 to get 10% off your own authentic Japanese subscription box. Thank you so much to Boxu for sponsoring this video, and now let's get on with the story of the Neopets NFT scandal. Neopets is a browser game for kids and tweens which centers around chatting with friends, playing games, and looking after fantasy creatures known as Neopets. The game launched in 1999 and over the years has gained a player base of over 60 million, hitting its peak in the 2000s where it was one of the biggest sites on the internet. From Cheers to Cougars to Jub-Jubs, kids couldn't get enough of these little guys. Despite how popular it was and what a huge impact it had on internet culture, that nostalgia has only been able to take Neopets so far, and most of the player base has dropped off in recent times. As we discussed in my deep dive video, the site is very cobbled together with broken games, outdated web pages, and a mishmash of art styles all smushed together into one website and held together by spaghetti code. We also touched on Neopets' poor management and decision making, with most of the community being openly hostile towards them for their constant missteps, lies, and mistreatment of the community. At this point, the only ones playing it seem to be the hardcore fans who've been playing from the start, or returning players who remembered the site randomly and returned for that sweet hit of nostalgia. The point is, the site doesn't really have the goodwill or the fan base to be pushing their luck with scandals. They honestly can't really afford it at this point because most of their player base is either veterans who've been there through all of the rest of the drama and are kind of sick of Neopets shit at this point, or returning players looking for nostalgia who aren't invested and are willing to jump ship at a moment's notice. If we're going to examine the metaverse NFT situation, we do have to discuss NFTs. Now, I've wanted to avoid talking about this on my channel because the NFT community is kind of insane, and I'm definitely gonna get a bunch of DMs from crypto bros telling me to combat myself. All part of the job, I suppose. In very simple terms, an NFT or non-fungible token is a type of digital art that has risen to popularity very quickly in recent times. You may have seen them around the internet. Essentially, they're digital pieces of art which are non-fungible, aka one of a kind. They're minted on something called a blockchain, making them unique to the person buying them. It's basically the equivalent of buying like a Michelangelo and having his signature on the back. It's a mark of authenticity and uniqueness. Because of the this cryptocurrency blockchain minting, they've been touted as the newest form of fine art collection, and many of these NFTs go for ridiculously high prices. So what exactly is the problem with this, you may be asking? Well, how many hours do you have? Well, there are a lot of issues with NFTs, and I can't get into all of them just in this one video, but here are a few. NFTs are incredibly bad for the environment because you need a lot of computing power to mint one of these artworks on a blockchain. NFTs rely on crypto mining, which uses vast amounts of power, sometimes the equivalent of powering a whole studio or like a home for a year, and they've been shown to emit a huge amount of greenhouse gas emissions. Secondly, NFTs are straight up ugly. You may have seen images like these floating around, and there's a good chance that someone paid thousands of dollars for these. Because most NFT sellers want to make a huge profit and don't really care about quality, they make basic templates that they can mix and match thousands of times and sell separately, basically like super terrible pit crews or Girls Go Games dress-ups. Bored apes, lazy lions, canine cartel, which Lindsay Lohan literally advertised with a fursona of herself, I am not kidding. NFTs have not only become a contentious topic, but one that is frequently memed and made fun of due to crypto bros spending thousands of dollars on ugly pit crew furry art. God truly has abandoned us. Thirdly, the NFT space is rife with scams, money laundering, and tax evasion. For example, one NFT collection called Evolved Apes, which look like this, had investors spending millions. Can you see why everyone makes fun of NFT buyers yet? The Evolved Apes team then took the money and ran, leaving buyers with these terrible, ugly pictures that they couldn't sell. Cryptocurrency in general is known for being used in shady or straight up illegal transactions and on the black market, and NFTs are being used in a similar fashion. Don't worry, we'll go more in depth on this later because this applies heavily to the Neopets situation. Fourthly, they're just plain silly. Critics often make the joke that they can just right click and save the images for free instead of paying thousands, leading the NFT community to come up with the derogatory term right clickers. These people are essentially spending huge sums of money on terrible low quality art in the hopes that maybe one day they'll be able to resell them for more and become millionaires, and because of this, NFTs have been described as get rich quick schemes or pyramid schemes. There are plenty of other more educated people who have talked on this topic, and I highly recommend that you do your own research if you want to know more, but I think you get the gist. The TLDR is if you want to spend money on art, just commission an artist. It's cheaper than an NFT and won't make you want to gouge your eyes out every time you look at it. In recent times, there's been this repeating trend of people talking about how terrible NFTs are, and then oh no, suddenly your favorite mega corporation slash celebrity is making NFTs. Usually what follows is a lot of angry fans, and this was no different when the internet's beloved Neopets announced that they would be creating and distributing Neopets NFTs. What ensued was a trash fire of enormous proportions, with the Neopets team making embarrassing mistakes at every step and very quickly losing any goodwill that they'd built up with their tenuous fan base. Let's dive in. So let's get down to Bruceness. Like business, but with the... Sorry. On the 22nd of September 2021, an announcement was released that Neopets would be making NFTs. Neopets is excited to announce a partnership with Radium, an automated market maker, AMM, and launchpad powered by Solana to bring a collection of NFTs based on characters from the 20 years of Neopian history and lore. Collectors and fans will have the opportunity to acquire one of 20,500 equally unique, algorithmically generated, lovable Neopets NFTs with variable backgrounds, assets, clothing, and personality. 7 varying trait categories. An official launch date will be shared as we get closer, but look for the drop to be in early to mid-October. The first sign of trouble came as soon as this announcement was made on Twitter by the @Neopets Meta account. For context, this project was called the Neopets Metaverse. Almost immediately, the official @Neopets account called the Metaverse an unaffiliated scam, pointing to the idea that the Neopets team weren't informed or consulted about the project whatsoever. Users even DM'd game support, who wrote, quote, "I believe it is a scam." They then had to take this post down and make a new post confirming that it, in fact, was not a scam and that it was legitimate and Neopets approved. Obviously, this didn't really make the situation much better. Don't mind me just bookmarking this for when it inevitably crashes and burns. Well, it's finally time, boys. It's finally time to quit Neopets. It's really fucking sad to see this shit as the reason why. Literally everyone I know who has even a remote interest in Neopets is now boycotting over this. This sucks so bad. Incredible job, you managed to find a worthy worse partnership than Scientology. It just feels weird to give people money to buy something that you won't actually own. Feels like a pyramid scheme. Well, this is one way to make people quit the site and stop giving you money en masse. Hopefully driving away all the current players was the goal. Seriously, this is disgusting. What is wrong with the Neopets team? Neopets revealed that the NFTs would be coming in the form of, yet again, these randomly generated template pets, ugly as sin and with bare minimum effort involved. They were mocked by the community since they were literally just Neopets but ugly, unable to be customized, and unable to be played with or fed. At this point, fans were basically asking, why would I spend hundreds of dollars on this when I could go onto your website and make a Neopet that's 100 times better for free? They were also asking, well, who is this marketed towards? Obviously not kids, clearly not Neopets fans, so who? Well, the answer is crypto guys and the NFT community. They were enthusiastically piling on in the comments, professing their love for Neopets and claiming that the launch of the Metaverse project had reignited their interest in playing on the site. Now, for clarification, these Neopets NFTs were advertised as running on Solana, which is apparently an eco-friendly way to make NFTs, which is why every 4chan crypto investor was in the comments of the announcement like, wow, these normies don't realize Sol is good for the environment. You criticize NFTs as bad for the environment, yet you tweeted this from an iPhone. However, an NFT artist and coder called Nova wrote a Medium article on the topic, writing, though Solana's proof of stake system cuts out a lot of waste, its requirements for validators are still very high and require a fairly specialized computer. Additionally, the lack of hard data and studies of Solana's energy usage make it hard to definitively confirm any claims around environmental impact. However, the proof of stake system is clearly a massive improvement over proof of work, drastically reducing energy consumption and waste. Essentially, Solana is more environmentally friendly than other blockchains, but that doesn't mean it's environmentally friendly full stop, and the lack of data combined with the general shadiness of the NFT space makes me personally doubt that it's as ethical as Neopets has made it out to be. But I digress, because if I say any more, I'm gonna have guys with these kinds of profile pictures in my DMs for weeks. Also ignore the fact that I said data and data. I don't even know anymore. Getting back to our original point, the community was outraged, and one of the largest news sources / guides for Neopets, Jelly Neo, started the hashtag #NoNeoNFTs. They also wrote an article about why Neopets players were unhappy with this decision, and it wasn't just because of the ethical issues with NFTs. They wrote that players had been asking Neopets for different features, bug fixes, and patches for years, with key features broken, no plot updates in 3 years, and yearly recurring events postponed indefinitely. Quote, key features of the original Neopets game that were built with Flash remain dead, including navigational world maps, thousands of wearable clothing assets, and hundreds of minigames. Neopets had basically abandoned their players, only returning every few months to shove new merch in their face, and now NFTs. Many players felt like Neopets simply didn't care about improving or updating the site and were only keeping it around to milk it for its nostalgia value and leech off veteran players for money. And with ice like this, who could resist shoveling money into the pockets of Neopets? Jelly Neo also wrote in its article, quote, the artwork being sold under this project is using existing Neopets artwork that you can assemble yourself on neopets.com. It's generative artwork, meaning it's created completely randomly. Based on the samples seen so far at neopetsmetacollection.com, you will in all likelihood end up with something ugly and unsellable. Not only that, but the Neopet generator can be easily recreated by just about any Neopets user. This basically confirmed that the Neopets metaverse was not targeted towards actual Neopets players or fans who generally care a lot about Neopet customizations, but instead towards the completely unrelated crypto and NFT market. As mentioned earlier, the fact that they were desperately catering to the crypto community for money instead of fixing their site was a slap in the face to Neopets players. At this point, you're probably thinking, boy howdy, Neopets certainly got themselves into a lot of trouble this time. Well, buckle in, because things are about to get a whole lot worse. So just for clarification, the Neopets site itself has a staff team running it called the Neopets team, who deals with, moderation, bug fixes, updates, all that kind of stuff. On a corporate level, the site is owned by Jumpstart, which itself is owned by a large corporation called NetDragon. The Metaverse project is believed to have been started by NetDragon separately from the Neopets team without consulting or asking them in any way, but we'll put a pin in this and come back to it. So over the years, Neopets itself has worked very, very hard to maintain a child-friendly and safe image, cracking down on inappropriate behavior and swearing to a ridiculous degree, and tailoring its content around young children. Well, all of this went completely out of the window when the Neopets metaverse launched. Firstly, they sent out a tweet congratulating 2 NFT projects which had recently launched on Solana, Magic Eden and horny hedgehogs. Good lord, our planet really is doomed. The Neopets metaverse was suggesting a collaboration by using the truly Richard phrase "when collab," and obviously this whole thing was a big red flag. Like I said, Neopets has always been super strict about making its website really kid-friendly, so doing a partnership slash collab kind of thing with a project called Horny Hedgehogs wasn't really doing much for their family-friendly image. Next, in response to all the backlash and the hashtag #NoNeoNFTs hashtag, the Neopets metaverse posted a soy jack meme to their page. The meme itself was meant to depict and make fun of someone who doesn't like NFTs and is uneducated about them, with classic lines such as "this is a pyramid scheme" and "we are destroying the environment." If you ever find yourself having to emphasize that you're not in a pyramid scheme, congratulations, you're in a pyramid scheme. Now, I don't have time in this video to go into the whole history of Wojaks, but in simple terms, it's an internet meme slash reaction picture that you've probably seen floating around the internet in various forms. It didn't originate there, but it gained popularity and became a staple on 4chan, leading many to criticize its mainstream usage as popularizing an alt-right meme. While it has been and does get used in hateful, bigoted circles, it's become so mainstream and divorced from that context that many don't actually understand or recognize its origins. The crypto community and 4chan bros are two infamously overlapping groups, and you'll hear a lot of 4chan-esque language and mannerisms in the crypto space, which leads us to the great Discord debacle. The next drama in this series of unfortunate events was the Neopets Metaverse Discord group, and oh boy, buckle in because this one was really messy. As mentioned before, the NFT and crypto space is filled with 4chaners, and this became very apparent in the Neopets Metaverse Discord group. Players frequently use the term old F slur, a very common piece of lingo used on the site, and when one user straight up called another the F slur, it was allowed to remain up for several hours. When users justifiably complained to the mods about this, their response was embarrassing. Is there a reason the word fuck gets you auto-muted but the F slur doesn't? Admins? Seems kinda short-sighted in my opinion. One is far more offensive than the other. Because I'm not a PhD in AI that can build a machine learning software to get rid of all variations, if you have that expertise, then we welcome you to build it for us to implement. I mean, bots have word filters where you just input the words yourself. I've used Carlbot, anyone can use it. If we have to go through every single variation, I mean, she said the word outright, that's not a variation. Appreciate if you stop fudding. For the unaware, fudding is a term used in the NFT space which means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When people bring up valid concerns or questions relating to NFTs or cryptocurrency, they're often told to stop fudding, aka spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's basically another way of shutting down any form of dissent or variation from the status quo. Yeah, you know, not like a pyramid scheme or a cult at all. Back to this whole encounter, the admin's whole argument is that if they ban the slur, they'd have to ban every single variation and workaround for that slur. As the poster pointed out, this argument doesn't really hold water when A, they haven't even censored the basic word itself, and B, have clearly taken time to censor other words. And then when the poster pointed out the holes in this argument, they were then told to shut up. Awesome. Adding fuel to the fire, the admins accidentally made a private channel public where they were talking about wanting the Neopets team and Jumpstart to start adding highly anticipated updates to the game to distract the player base and quote, change the tone of the boards. A lot of companies get called out for trying to release big updates after they get into scandals, but very few get caught actively planning it. Good job, guys. Raids and spammers were fairly common in the Metaverse Discord, and on one occasion, one of the moderators posted a screenshot of one of the spammers' Instagram handles, essentially directing everyone to dogpile them. Turns out that spammer was a minor who was effectively doxxed, and the cherry on top is that the moderator was bragging about getting paid to do this. They were then fired from the mod team and an apology was issued. I'm not saying that raiding and spamming is okay, I'm just saying for someone who bragged about being a crypto moderator for years and how you can't act on feelings in this job, they seemed very quick to get angry and make a very rash decision. I mean, why do your job when you can get your Discord group to do it for you? This dodgy behavior even made it onto the very site itself, where the staff displayed some very shady censorship. On Neopets, there's a beauty contest every week where players can dress up or draw their Neopet and players can vote on which one is the best. On September the 24th, the user Neneslins was picked as the winner with a Neopet that was holding up a hashtag #NoNeoNFTs sign. The staff team then just fully deleted the entry entirely, which obviously caused backlash and cries of censorship. The team then realized this was a really dumb and obvious move and put the winner back up, but deviously lowered the image quality of the winner so the sign is barely visible. That's only scraping the tip of the iceberg in terms of all the drama that has arisen out of the Neo NFT community, but now let's move on to the big leagues. It turns out that behind the scenes things were just as much, if not more, of a trash fire, and there was some very shady and suspicious business going on. After doing some digging, it was discovered that most of the companies connected to this whole Neopets NFT situation were very shady and suspicious. Neopets had announced that they would be partnering with two companies, Moonvaults and Cherrypix, who were both extremely suspicious companies. Moonvaults had only joined Twitter in July of 2021 and had 14 followers. Twitter user @Wisploid actually found a Neopets HTML page that a user created discussing the shadiness of the two companies called @NetDragon69. That page got taken down, but a new identical one went up under the handle @NFTurd. From the page, quote, "The company, Moonvaults, running the NFTs closed its first investment period a month ago. Their Twitter was created a month ago. It's a brand new shell corp. The official NFT website is essentially a blog. Both the NFT website and Moonvaults are incredibly bare bones. The Moonvaults website only has 2 pages, both were like a sentence each." This page also noted that there were multiple other abandoned Moonvault accounts made earlier in the year. It's entirely possible these are separate crypto companies that just picked the same name, but the page theorized that Moonvault had gone bankrupt, recouped for 3 months, and then attempted to make a comeback with the Neopets project. It's also worth noting that the official Neopets Metaverse website is using stock fantasy backgrounds rather than actual game assets and was caught using stolen art, but we'll put a pin in that and come back to it. Cherrypix was even more bizarre, with NFTurd's page reading, quote, "A website listed on the NFT site, Cherrypix is also owned by NetDragon along with Neopets. It was founded in Hong Kong, but now most offices are in China. It has news article after article of business tech babble and a lot of praising of their own higher-ups and projects. It honestly seems like a laundering scheme of some kind. While I'm not 100% sure that this is a laundering scheme considering the legitimacy of some of the convention photos and the large list of big clients, the website is still extremely strange. Most of the website consists of stock photos, and the news section is basically just article after article bragging about the various achievements of the CEOs and managers, all while referring to them by first name only. The news section is only relevant if you care deeply about Kenny or Jason, and aside from that, there's not really much else there. Even the news site that broke the news about the Neo NFT collaboration is super shady itself. Quote, "Checking their latest news section meets you with a setup very similar to Cherrypix. Page after page after page of bogus endorsements and business-related announcements updated at a pace only a bot could keep up with. It's honestly astonishing. Checking the locations of the US offices, the news site, they lead you to results with all different company names. San Francisco's office is a company called UMB TechWeb. A company said to be located in Chicago doesn't even show up on maps. There seems to be a lot of shell corporations, or at the very least very shady corporations. The rabbit hole just keeps going. The news site's parent company, Cision, has 50k Twitter followers and their posts get nearly no engagement. If you do more digging on the alleged news site, you'll find you essentially can pay them to create bogus news stories for you and your company. It's a PR firm with shadiness dialed up to 10. Neopets/NetDragon paid these guys to hype up their scam. One look at any other article on the site should tell you how credible they are. The incredibly shady companies involved are all very crappily put together, many broken links, outdated and straight up false info. The fact that the main people running this NFT are a brand new company and others involved are just as, if not more shady, is scary. NetDragon's ownership out of 2 of the 3 parties involved is more so. That's right, pretty much every company tied to this whole situation is super shady and suspicious and is either brand new, broken, or tied to NetDragon in some way. Now, I'm no expert in fraud whatsoever, so maybe someone who is a little bit more experienced or knowledgeable in that field can let us know in the comments, but this definitely does feel like some sort of weird laundering shit, or at least very suspicious. Either way, it's really not a good look for Neopets to be caught paying off this super shady news site to advertise their unprofessional and scammy NFT collection. And speaking of unprofessional, let's move on to the fact that the Neopets Metaverse team stole art. On the Neopets NFT website, neopetsmetacollection.com, there was a range of sample images showing off the various lovely Neopets that could be generated. But it turns out that they didn't generate or even make these images, they stole them off a fan-made dress-up site called Dress to Impress. Jelly Neo's article on the topic read, quote, "The dimensional Kugura showcased was displayed with green spots instead of its usual blue outline, and the green spotted colouring is unique to a glitch on the pre-2020 version of Dress to Impress. Shortly after this was pointed out, the dimensional Kugura was quietly replaced with a chocolate Kugura. The Neopets Metaverse team has yet to acknowledge or apologise for using Dress to Impress for its commercial venture. Their apparent lack of Neopets knowledge was their downfall, and they accidentally showed their theft by using a paintbrush style exclusive to Dress to Impress. As mentioned, they did quickly change this example to a chocolate Kugura, but this is also assumed to just be made on Dress to Impress." This not only raised questions about the ethics of the Neopets Metaverse team, considering they were willing to steal art from a fan site, but also their intentions. Why would they need to use a fan site when presumably they have access to any game asset that they want? And why couldn't they use that supposed generator they had that they were going to use to generate all of these thousands of NFTs? Well, here comes a bombshell. Neopets had actually tried to make an NFT project years prior, which failed terribly. As fans have frequently pointed out, Neopets, or more specifically Jumpstart and NetDragon, have fallen for many scams in the past. In 2018, they famously collabed with ill-fated merch store Overpowered, which went bankrupt and then took the money and ran without delivering all of the merchandise they promised, and in 2020 they collabed with Geekify to deliver inedible advent calendars. From the NFTurd page, quote, "Many users reported a foul chemically taste. The chocolates had severe sugar blooms that don't appear in chocolate that's been properly tempered. Geekify posted on their social channels the chocolate making in process after admitting they don't work with food, complete with a filthy kitchen and bowls of obviously melted down and reheated chocolate. That's good eatin'." The Tumblr page which these images are taken from, made by @CrocIslandScoundrels, reads, quote, "So I bought the Neopets advent calendar from Geekify and it's interesting to say the least. The chocolates have a burnt quality to them and the lines on some of the chocolates make me think they were 3D printed. I'm not gonna eat any more of them, but it sure was something." Another user @SonicsBlog wrote, "My chocolates were inedible. Something was seriously off with them. I mailed Geekify and they responded they've gotten similar complaints." Mind you, this whole chocolate situation doesn't really have much to do with the metaverse situation, but I just thought I'd go into it because it's kind of wild. Back to that scammy merch store and Neopets' previous NFT failure, in October of 2018 they partnered with Overpowered again to create Neopets Crypto Quest. Crypto Quest was a quote blockchain adventure trading card game where the cards themselves were purchasable and tradable using cryptocurrency. This was basically a disaster as they only sold just over 1,800 card packs and the reception was overwhelmingly negative. Neopets only mentioned Crypto Quest once on its main site, and the marketplace that the cards and collectibles were sold through is no longer running, rendering all of these NFT purchases as completely inaccessible. This whole debacle is pretty interesting though, because it shows that Neopets were interested in integrating NFTs and crypto technology into their site about 2 to 3 years before they became mainstream. Looking back, it seems natural that given the recent boom and popularity of NFTs, they would try a project like this again. However, looking back at all of their failures and all the times they've been scammed, it also seems natural that this project is doomed to fail. But will it actually, and what does the future look like for Neopets NFTs? Well, let's discuss. The Neopets Metaverse journey has only just begun, and already it's been fraught with disaster, drama, and scandal, and the future isn't looking much brighter. On October 7th, the Neopets Metaverse posted a roadmap to their Medium blog detailing their plans for the future and how they wanted to expand the metaverse. To simplify this very long, vague article, their aim is basically to recreate a copy of the original Neopets game, which runs solely on the blockchain and cryptocurrency. They want to turn all in-game assets into NFTs, which by the sound of it will be purchasable with cryptocurrency or available to earn through play. Needless to say, having Neopets' historically free-to-play content and mechanics all wrapped up in real-world money and purchases has fans very riled up. Additionally, as Jelly Neo writes, quote, "The roadmap proposes decentralizing the new Neopets game, giving control of its features, development, and assets over to the NFT community. Consistent lore, family-friendly content, none of that is guaranteed in a user-run version of Neopia. In effect, Jumpstart is giving up the Neopets brand. As we discussed discussed towards the start of the video, the Neopets site itself is in shambles with unfinished pages, broken games, and a lack of any updates. Many fans are worried that Neopets itself is being abandoned in favor of this new Neopets NFT game, but that might not be such a worry after all. On the 6th of November, @Neopets Meta posted an update to their Twitter linking to a Medium post where they announced the details of their NFT drop, and things are not looking good. They reduced the number of NFTs they were selling by half, dropping them from 20.5k to only 10.5k, and keep in mind 500 of those are being saved for giveaways and for the Metaverse team to keep. Not only has the number of NFTs dropped, presumably because of a lack of demand, but they've instated a launch mechanic where the earliest buyers get the NFTs cheapest and everyone after that has to pay progressively more. The crypto buyers and NFT fans who once showed support towards the project are now super pissed off about this, as it means that bots will swoop in and buy up the bulk of the NFTs first, leaving real buyers with huge price tags. Holy shit, that's a botched way of doing the sale. This is gonna get obliterated by bots and regular buyers will be left hanging with expensive buys. First come, first serve, we'll lose to those damn bots. You know it's bad when NFT buyers, infamously known to clinging to even the most sinking of ships, are backing out and criticizing the project. They've essentially made this already scammy project even scammier by making sure that bots are gonna swoop in and get the cheapest NFTs and make the actual buyers pay super high $1,000 price tags. To sum everything up, I don't know why controversy seems to haunt Neopets every step, but this project is really no different. It seems very clear that the Neopets staff themselves were not made aware of this project and were thrown under the bus suddenly when it launched, and they had to scramble to first figure out whether it was legit and then try to quell the outrage. It's made even more obvious that the Neopets staff have little to do with the project when you consider that none of them are in the Discord, and the moderators that are have allowed very inappropriate and offensive behavior to go unpunished. Most people know by this point that NFTs are a scam, and these $1,000 Neopet PNGs will probably be worth like $2 in a few months, but the fact that this project is wrapped up in so many bizarre shell companies is really strange. I keep finding myself absolutely baffled by all the decision making here and wondering who their target audience even is. They've angered and alienated their already dwindling fanbase of veteran players, and now they're rapidly losing support from the NFT community due to the drop in quantity and the spike in price for regular buyers. It may be that all the NFTs sell out or even become successful, but at what cost? There's absolutely nothing wrong with monetizing your brand. I mean, you gotta keep the lights on and you gotta get staff paid, but Jumpstart and NetDragon have made it pretty clear through their actions that making a quick buck by partnering with shady companies is more important than fixing or maintaining their site. They're valuing money over their fan base, and with Neopets' drop in numbers over the years, I just don't feel like they can afford to do that. This whole situation is honestly bizarre, and it'll be really interesting to see where things go from here. Alright, so I had a whole thing here about what I predicted would happen, but it turns out that as I was finishing the editing of this video, the NFTs actually launched. On the 12th of November, the Neopets Metaverse launched their first drop of 10.5k Neopets NFTs, and to the surprise of no one, it was a huge disaster. Firstly, the launch happened during the early hours of the morning, around 4 AM for most, and those who stayed up all night to get in first were greeted with errors. Many who were the first to connect their crypto wallet were unable to, only being able to connect after all of the bots swooped in and grabbed all of the reasonably priced NFTs. Obviously, this seemed really shady to people, and most of the buyers were lumped with huge and very unreasonable price tags that they just weren't willing to pay. Most pathetic launch I've ever seen. Errors non-stop, and tried using multiple soul wallets. Take care, Neopets, will not be trying to relive my childhood in the metaverse, since it seems you can't even figure out how to properly set up an NFT sale for users and is just a cash grab. Fucking waste of time. Stayed on till 4 AM for this. When I connected my wallet and hit buy, it said only 4 had been bought. After like 10 seconds I get an error, try again, another error, refresh, and it's already over 2,000 sold. Embarrassingly, they don't seem to have sold out as quickly as Neopets hoped, as a few hours after the launch they posted, "All unsold Neopets Metaverse NFTs will be burnt. You guys are now proud holders of the Genesis Neopets Metaverse NFT." So essentially they started at 20.5k, halved that due to the lack of demand, and then were unable to sell even that amount, so are now planning on burning the rest under the guise of wanting to make them more scarce and rare. The Discord is in disarray, with the word scam being used over 450 times, and while some are celebrating their new purchases and bragging about how the burning will make theirs rarer, many are panicking and feel that they've been scammed. I've seen tons of people that have clicked on fake links leading to a website that looks identical to the metaverse website but has a slightly different URL, which then takes their cryptocurrency and completely scams them. Unfortunately, this is really just the reality of NFTs. It's a space absolutely rife with scams, and despite how expert some of these folks make themselves out to be, a lot of them have lost a lot of money because they didn't realize they were being scammed by a fake website. Whole thing is sus, from the roadmap without concrete deadlines to lack of communication from devs to Twitter page roasting people for showing valid concerns. Lots of red flags, end quote. To be honest, I don't really see any Neopets metaverse games coming out anytime soon, but hey, you never know. Maybe it will, but when that time comes, I won't be signing up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed that topic. That's been kind of requested for a while because yeah, wow, wow. There's a lot going on in that situation. It honestly still boggles my mind that much has gone on in the span of like a few months. It just seems like part of the Neopets curse where everything they do is just fated to become just insane. So yeah, thank you so much to Boxu for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. If you ever have any suggestions, definitely let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover or anything kind of like that in the future, any feedback. It's all very much appreciated. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much to my Garfield overlords over on Patreon: Sheriff Whiskey, Trebizonde, Lady Cerebellum, Xavier Araujo, SHSL Sunsun, Grip Gunderson, Sophie Skidder, Simon, Dozo Blint, Red Meth, The Fabulous Librarian, Missy Pendragon, Astrian Vortex, Joe Bradshaw, Jordan Nielsen, John Leach, Helm Hamburger Hand, Chicory, Tyson, Kimono Maijaro, Pom, Dana Homegardener, Arcantilus, Jesse Chisholm, Charlie B, Brianna Robinson, Boysenberry Switchblade, Finley, and Ginkgo Fox, Agarafin, Doug, and Samsung account. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. If you want to join these guys over on Patreon, the link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you guys as always, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!